Yo, Much King Kai here. Today we'll be doing What If Luffy was Big Mom's son. Now, something I like to say is that Katakuri and Luffy will have the same father and mother, so they are fully blood brothers. Let's just say after a couple of years of the other husband, Big Mom went back to her ex and slept with her ex to have Luffy, who has purple hair and reddish, pinkish eyes. Here, similar to Katakuri. He is born 3 years early, not 3 years, 2 years earlier, and also her husband will be a part of the Will of D, since we don't know too much about him and he could be part of any clan. So Luffy would still have a D in his name and be part of the Will of D. Now, without further ado, let's get started. We see a Luffy who was 5 training with a 33-year-old Katakuri on how to use his devil fruit he just ate, because we'll say Big Mom has possession of the Gum Gum fruit in this timeline. Yo, big bro Katakuri, I pretty much have this move down packed. When am I gonna learn Haki? Soon, Luffy. You still have yet to master your Gum Gum fruit to the point where I know you can. I have a feeling that you are a very special person, little brother. One who will set this world free. What does that mean? You'll see, Luffy. You'll see. We then cut to black and then see Luffy and Katakuri a couple months later training on Haki, as Luffy is having a hard time activating armament, but observation comes naturally to him as him and Katakuri are sparring. Katakuri swings his spear at him, but Luffy backflips over it and then made his fist huge, forming spikes on it. You see, Luffy had mastered the Gum Gum fruit to a degree where he could manipulate it and kind of morph it as if it was dough, as if he was tapping into a little bit of Gear 5's power without even using Gear 5. He would then punch Katakuri, but Katakuri would block easily. And this is when Katakuri would swipe at Luffy's head with his trident, and Luffy would activate his observation, dodging it. Katakuri would then put his spear away and say that's enough for now. Warner and they are currently in Turtle Land, and Katakuri is training Luffy because Big Mom instructed him to. We can go get some sweets now if you want. Yes, I've been waiting for some sweets for a while. Katakuri and Luffy would then proceed to go and eat a bunch of donuts and cake and candies. We flash to about 13 years later, seeing Luffy ready to set sail. Big Mom has always wanted Luffy to join her crew, but Luffy didn't want to and always wanted to make his own crew. Katakuri has always been on Luffy's side, so he sees him off. So you setting sail now, little brother? Yeah, I would like for you not to tell Mom. She'll be annoying about it, simply put. Yeah, I get you. I won't tell her. But here, take this. Katakuri would then take off his scarf and give it to Luffy and tells him to make sure he becomes the Pirate King. Luffy would then says, I'll do it for sure and trust me. They would then fist bump and Luffy then sails off in a boat around the size of the Mary or a bit smaller. You see, if you're wondering why Luffy's other sailors did not see him off, it's because it would cause too much of a crowd and it would catch Big Mom's attention quickly, and she would try and stop Luffy, and Luffy is not ready to take on her yet. Luffy is currently traveling back to the First Sea because that's where he wants to start and work his way up to, the new world and stuff. But although he already had a bounty of 600 million for doing work for Big Mom and other things like that, even though he technically never joined her crew. Luffy, who has a bit of navigational skills here will set himself at the Navy HQ that Zoro is being held at, but he comes across a ship on the way there. As they try to raid, the ship that he came across tries to raid him. Some of Alvida's pirates would jump onto his boat, pointing blades at him, but right now, Luffy is looking down until he looks up and they recognize him, and he then knocks them out with Conqueror's Haki. He then grabs a small boat he had in his storage, then sailing up to Alvida's ship, jumping onto it, then putting Haki on his fist, making his fist huge as he then covers it in armament and spikes, punching Alvida directly in the face as she hits the planks of the ship, quick as the ships will then crack and more cracks will form in the ship, and the ship breaks in half from Luffy's fist, while Luffy's fist sent Alvida into the ocean. Sorry if that was very unclear. Luffy then lands back onto a ship while the Alvida pirates will drown, but he then sees a kid and he can sense with his observation that this kid has no bad intent and he's not a bad kid at all, so he quickly sprints, jumping and grabbing the pink-haired kid, landing back on his boat. Thank you. You saved me. I must repay you somehow, Kobe would say while bowing. That won't be necessary, said Luffy. Kobe then raises his head to realize that it's purple-haired Luffy, but although shaking a bit, he sees Luffy as genuinely not a bad person, and he saved him, so he calms down. So, where are we headed next? Well, I'm a pirate, so we're going to go get my next crewmate. Don't you mean potential crewmate? No, it's not up for debate. Oh, who do you have in mind? Roa Noa Zoro. Kobe would then say, of course, only Charlotte D. Luffy would go for such a dangerous crew member. Hey kid, how old are you? Oh, I'm 16. Then why are you so small? Anybody is small compared to you. You're like 6 feet tall, Kobe would say. I guess that's true. They would then arrive at the island with Zoro, and Kobe says, "Where do we go from here?" And uh, we don't go anywhere, Luffy would say. "You'll probably die to where I'm heading, kid." Luffy then speeds off, and Kobe attempts to follow him by following the track he made. Luffy then sees a little girl who's about to get thrown over the wall by a Navy soldier, according to Helmeppo's order. But Luffy then speeds between them in an instant, kicking Helmeppo in the face, sending him flying. And he can sense that this Navy soldier is good, so he just knocks him out with Conqueror's Haki. You okay, kid? Yeah, thank you so much. No problem. Now get home to your mom, alright? She would then nod her head and be on her way home, and Luffy would then hear a voice. Well, well, well. Just what the hell are you? Zoro would say, looking up at Luffy. Luffy then says, I set out here to make you part of my crew, but if you're being kept here by these weaklings, maybe you aren't worth it. Shut up. Whoever said I wanted to be a part of your crew? Well, yeah, that's what I told him, but he said it wasn't up for debate. Kobe would say, finally catching up to Luffy. Luffy then says, here's the deal. I get your swords, take down this Navy HQ, and get you out of here, and you join my crew. Why should I believe you can do all that? Because I'm Charlotte D. Luffy. Zoro eyes widen while Luffy just stretches his arm out, telling Kobe to get Zoro out of his restraints before launching himself into the Navy HQ, then pulling out his trident, throwing it through the statue of Morgan, as that statue will slowly crack and burst into pieces as Luffy lands on his feet, staring Morgan down. Morgan will recognize Luffy in this instant, and as Luffy begins to walk toward him, he is backing up more and more, scared for his life. Wait, you spare my life and now I'll give you my title. Luffy continues to walk forward. Morgan then says, how about this island? How about I leave for... However, before he could finish his sentence, Luffy used the gum fruit to extend his hand with the trident in it, piercing Morgan through his heart, killing him instantly. He then dodged a bullet shot from Helmeppo and slowly walks up to Helmeppo using Conqueror's Haki, but just enough to strike fear into Helmeppo and not knock him out as he holds Helmeppo up by his shirt. Where is Roano's swords? Helmeppo points to him where they are, and Luffy then drops him and walks to where he pointed, grabbing Zoro's swords. He then sees Navy soldiers down there with guns pointed at Zoro and Kobe, about to light them up, and they are about to shoot them. However, Luffy is about to flex his Conqueror's Haki, but he wants to see what Zoro can do, and this is sort of a test to see if Zoro is truly strong. Hey Zoro, Luffy will yell, and then proceeds to throw Zoro his swords, and we then cut to black and hear gunshots and slashing sounds. We fade in to see Zoro Luke slicing down every Navy soldier who tried to shoot him, and Luffy would smirk before jumping out of the window onto his feet. So, Zoro, will you join my crew? Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'd be rude to turn away the person who saved my life. I'll follow you anywhere, Captain. Luffy would smile under his scarf and he said, well, actually, I made you 3 promises, didn't I? I got your swords, and I got you out of your restraints, but no, Kobe would say. I still haven't brought this place down, Luffy would then say, and then he would then make his fist giant and add spikes on it like a kanabo, and he then adds armament haki to it, slamming his fist into the Navy HQ as it all starts to come down, breaking it in half as rubble and things like that crumble everywhere, while we see Luffy, Zoro, and Kobe walking out, Kobe fearing for his life, and Luffy then looks at Kobe. Oh yeah, you wanted to join the Navy, didn't you? Sorry, kid. Guess you'll just have to tag along with us until we go to a different Navy HQ. Kobe would then nod to say that I don't mind. With the town, they would throw a party, like a small party for Luffy, Zoro, and even Kobe somewhat, and Luffy and Zoro would drink, and Luffy would eat a bunch of sweets, specifically donuts and cake. After the party, Luffy and Zoro and Kobe would then leave on Luffy's ship, which is the size of the Mary, as I said, and then sail off. Where are we going now, Captain? I don't have a specific destination right now, so we'll just let the seas drift us to a different island. But you two will be training with me until we get to our destination. Zoro's all for getting stronger, and even Kobe considering that he wants to be a strong Marine, and the training will begin. Luffy would start off with blindfolding Zoro. Hey, what is this for? Simple. You'll try and avoid my attacks despite not being able to see me. And he also blindfolds Kobe. Zoro would then say, what for? Because it'll give you access to something I have, which is one of the main techniques of Haki. I'll go more in depth later, but right now, the attack begins. and I won't be going easy. Luffy then takes out his trident, spinning around and slashing at Zoro. Zoro hears the sword slash and barely manages to avoid getting a cut on his arm. No, do not use your hearing. Use your instinct. Luffy will then speed to Kobe, kicking him as Kobe couldn't avoid it at all, getting sent into a wall. Zoro gets in the calm stance with his blades focusing on an image of like a field with leaves behind him. Luffy then smirks, noticing he is starting to get it and starting to use his instincts as he then slashes at Zoro once again with the trident, but Zoro blocks barely. But he's managed to do it while Kobe is still having a hard time. The best part of this is it also builds up their fighting skills, and they work on it with him until the boat takes them to their destination, and it sailed them around for about 3 days until they got to an island. Luffy then jumps off the ship along with Kobe and Zoro, and while they are in the middle of walking, they see this orange-haired girl running and carrying a sack of money. Hey boss, can you take care of these for me? She would then yell, running off, and Luffy just casually walks past the thugs as Kobe and Zoro would easily handle it, with Kobe being much more built and a bit taller, but still hasn't had his full glow up yet. Anyways, Nami noticed that they were all right, and Luffy didn't even have to move as he walks in front of the two, and she figured he must be the boss, so she jumps down the building she was on and asks Luffy to team up with her. No, Luffy would say. Why not? Because you just tried to have me killed. What if I was a civilian? Lucky I'm not like most guys at all. Nami would say that's why we should team up, since I'm an amazing navigator, the best you'll ever see. I can sense you don't like pirates very much, Luffy would say, as her eyes were widening. Are you a pirate? Luffy then moves his scarf as she realizes it's Charlotte D. Luffy, and she's then starstruck and says, forget about it. The deal is off, walking off in anger. Luffy sighs and Zoro says, what the hell is her problem? Well, let's just keep going. They would then continue to walk, and when the cannonball is being fired, and Zoro speeds in front of the cannonball, in front of Luffy to the cannonball, slicing the cannonball in half as he unknowingly used something that Luffy had been trying to get him to use for days. Armament hockey. Luffy would smirk a bit under his scarf and proud that his first mate, aka brother, he considers anyone on his crew brother. He even considered Kobe one, even though he didn't join his crew. And yeah, he's proud of Zoro that he finally learned armament hockey. Luffy would then stare down whoever shot the cannonball, and it was Buggy who was sweating bullets. Seeing Zoro just cut a cannonball in half, Luffy just tells Kobe to deal with Buggy, and Kobe would then nod and then being a bit scared, but he is doing this for Luffy because Luffy has helped him with so much. Luffy would then say Zoro, and Zoro says, I already know, as he gets Buggy's swordsman. Luffy slowly walks up to the beast tamer and his giant lion as the giant lion slams his paw down on Luffy, but Luffy holds it up with one hand instead of just moving out of the way, which he could easily do, and the beast fears for his life. Now, Luffy holds up the lion's paws because he was about to crush the dog who was directly under it, which is Shushu. Run along, puppy, as the dog does so, and Luffy then lifts his head more, knocking the lion off its balance as it falls backwards. Luffy then makes his fist giant and spiked, punching the lion and its owner in the face, sending him flying, and the lion flying off into the sea. We then cut to Zoro fighting Buggy's swordsman, which he is easily beating. The swordsman would slash at Zoro, however Zoro would dodge, easily slashing him across the arm. The man would bleed, grunting and then walking forward while trying to pierce Zoro, however Zoro sidesteps him, then uses the hilt of his blade, slamming the hilt into the back of Buggy's swordsman, knocking the wind out of him and knocking him out. Kobe is having a slightly harder time because of Buggy's tricky devil fruit, but Buggy goes to choke Kobe with his disconnected hand, but Kobe grabs his hand and then throws it into Buggy's face so he couldn't see, and then Kobe proceeds to quickly kick Buggy before he can see, so he can't chop his body, and this kick knocks Buggy out to where Kobe would then tie him up, tie the piece of his body up with some rope. I'm done here. Good work, you two. Nami, who saw them easily take down Buggy, chooses to swallow her pride, and she then walks up and says, I'll team up with you. Luffy then says, why the change of heart? And she says that his power is unbelievable. Luffy then says, I figured. Alright then, let's get off this island. Luffy then would say, and he would then walk off with the others, and they follow. And they would get on the ship and set sail. While they are sailing, Luffy continues his training with Kobe and Zoro, and even brings Nami in for training too, of the fact that she is frankly weak, and I mean weaker than Kobe. Zoro and Kobe are progressing nicely with observation. However, Zoro is getting better and better at armament. Something that neither Kobe or Nami has yet to even activate. We cut to them approaching the island after a few days while Zoro, Luffy, and Kobe are finishing up a spar. Kobe will rush at Luffy, punching Luffy, and Luffy would dodge easily, kicking his foot, making Kobe fall to his knee. As Zoro will rush at him, slashing, but Luffy blocks with his trident, and Luffy then goes to pierce Zoro, but Zoro uses his blades to parry and then uses a hockey slash on Luffy. However, Luffy just dodges using observation easily. The ship is then docked at the island that they were approaching, and then they both jump off to encounter a boy with the long nose. I mean, all four of them would jump off the boat, and then they would encounter a boy with the long nose standing on top of a cliff, aiming his slingshot. If he was as if he was ready to fire. He would then ask them who they are, and Luffy then says, "You do know you're risking your life, right? Hmm? By threatening my life, you're risking your own." Zoro would then smile and say, "After all, you can't come prepared to kill and not be ready to die yourself. So, are you willing to put your life on the line in an attempt to kill us?" Kobe would say, being much taller now and having his voice being deeper and him having his full glow up. Usopp would then drop the slingshot. Damn it, real pirates' words hit a lot heavier than mine. Zoro, Luffy, and Kobe would laugh, and Luffy would then ask, "How old are you, kid?" Usopp would then say, "I'm 17. Luffy then says, "How about you join my crew? I can make you a real pirate, brave, and powerful as well." Usopp needs some time to think about it, and Luffy says, "Take all the time you need, but me and my crew will be heading to a tavern," which they do. While they are at a tavern, Usopp decided to tag along, so he did, and they eat and drink together as Luffy is eating his favorites, which are donuts. Talking to Usopp while Nami drinks as well, as Zoro and Kobe just orders him some pasta or something. Luffy would ask what is Usopp thinking so far for joining the crew, and Usopp says that he still hasn't decided, but he's leaning toward joining. "Trust me, if you come with me, I can make you powerful, just as my brothers, Zoro and Kobe." Nami kind of takes offense to this and says, "Are you saying that I'm not strong?" Luffy then says, "Don't take offense to this, but yes, that's exactly what I'm saying." Nami would just have her head down in depression in a comedic anime type of way. "Why do you want a coward like me on your team anyway?" Luffy, munching on a donut, would say, "'Cause I see your potential," meaning it quite literally, as he then goes on to say he also finds Usopp interesting. Usopp actually feels happy because nobody has ever said that, since he's just known as a liar and an annoying kid that makes jokes all the time around the village. Usopp completely decides on, you know, what he's been contemplating this whole time since Luffy got here. "Alright, I'll join your crew, Luffy, but I have to talk to somebody first." "No problem. Just make it relatively quick," and the Straw Hats would accompany him to the place where they arrive at Kaya's place. Usopp, who climbed a tree, stood on the branch of a tree, knocking on the window of Kaya. Once she answers, she asks Usopp what's the matter, seeing he had a serious expression on his face. However, before he gets to speak, they will all hear a voice. Well, well, if it isn't Usopp once again. Cloudor would say, checking his glasses. "Miss Kaya isn't allowed to have any visitors, so you and your little entourage can." However, he would then look up to see Luffy, and he would then be scared and speechless. Kuro would then begin to sweat bullets, and Zoro says that this guy kind of looks familiar for some reason. Kuro's whole tone would shift, and he would say, "I'm sorry to disturb you, but Miss Kaya is very, very sick, and she needs her rest, so may you be so kind to leave." "I'll leave once Usopp tells the kid whatever he needs to tell her," Luffy would say coldly. Usopp then says, "Well, he's setting out to sea with Luffy to become a pirate." "Wait, Luffy? As in Charlotte D. Luffy?" Yeah, he offered me to join his crew." That's huge news. That's huge news. Please, go. Don't let me hold you back from achieving your goals and dreams and miss out on an opportunity like this." Usopp would thank her for understanding, and he would jump down from the tree as him and the Straw Hats would begin to walk off But Kuro thinks that this is his chance to kill Luffy because Luffy is walking away from him and he thinks his guard is down, putting his gloves on with knives on each finger, speeding toward Luffy. However, Kobe actually came and punched Clawdor in his face, sending him stumbling a few feet. You're not gonna touch my older brother. Zoro sensed Clawdor's attack but knew Kobe had it. Nami would be surprised at Kobe's quick reflexes, and Kuro would dash at Kobe trying to slash him down, but Zoro will cut the blades off Kuro's fingers. And then Kobe and Zoro, with the combined attack, finished him with the blade slash and a kick. With this kick, Kobe accidentally used Armament Haki that he's been trying to activate for a while, as he would then get excited knowing he tapped into it. Yes, 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 yes. This is what I've been waiting for. This is so awesome. Luffy couldn't help but smile at his younger brothers being so happy at his achievements, whilst Kaya is confused on what just happened. Luffy sighs and says, sorry to tell you this, but this isn't Clawdor. His name is Kuro, and he is the captain of the Black Cat Pirates, and he just attempted to kill me, which was doomed to fail. Kaya would then be sad, but Usopp would comfort her and Luffy, and she couldn't deny the truth because it was literally right in front of her. Luffy walks off sighing, saying, I can't deal with this sappy stuff, as Zoro, Kobe, and Nami, as well as Usopp, would go back to the ship. But Usopp would get his things first before saying his final goodbyes to Kaya. But while walking off to the ship, the Straw Hats see the Black Cat Pirates, and Luffy nonchalantly walks past them using Conqueror's Haki, knocking all of them out, including and all of them will get on the ship, including Usopp getting on the ship. And that's where I'll be leaving it off, guys. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. I swear to God, I'll be more consistent this time. And I'm out. Peace.